Hello and welcome to another Reaconteur video, and in today's video I will be ranking every mode and type soul based on their partials, so Shrift, Shikai, and partial resurrections only. Make sure to subscribe since only about 20% of the people watching right now are actually subscribed. And I am also currently live on Twitch ranking your bedroom and PC setups, so come over when you're done with this video and watch me do that. Now let's get into it. First of all, let's cover the criteria. This is an overall list of every Shrift, Shikai, and partial resurrection with partial essence ranked in any given scenario. This means no hyper-specific scenarios or focusing on a mode like ranked or clan wars where its overall use cases are worse than this one specific set of tech that you can probably do. Thank you to the testers and lead developer Cetro Booming who helped me compile this list. So let's start it at number 46, Theater. Theater had such a fall from grace, receiving nerf after nerf, with its only upsides all being unintentional move stacks and glitches which would get patched out anyway. Comparing it to literally everything in the game, it manages to be the absolute worst. Its counter has low activation frames and high end lag, Kagioni, the backstab move, has a high windup and no confirms anymore, and the third move would be a decent combo starter, but it doesn't cause hit stun and can be easily blocked, making Theater the worst partial mode in the game. Now I can already hear a bunch of Theater users saying, oh well, Theater isn't that bad. And that's the thing, it really isn't. When we look at Theater, it's not like using it is just outright bad or it's going to cause you to lose fights, but if you're a Theater user, you could probably replace it with almost anything else on this list and have an equal, if not better, result. I'm not saying Theater is god-awfully useless, because most things in this list aren't, but Theater just isn't very good when you compare it to everything else in the game, which is why it just really isn't worth using. Up next at number 45 is the Visionary Shrift. Once within the top 3 of the game, it is now insanely weak, with the guns dealing an insignificant amount of posture damage, while also being easy to parry and causing you to go into parry stun from near infinite ranges. The guns are terrible, and the meteors have one of the largest windups in the game, along with extremely small hitboxes in comparison to what they look like. It's a nearly useless Shrift in any scenario, because at best you'll maybe land the guns, but I doubt they're going to do enough damage to really change the tide of a fight ever. At number 44 is Judgment, which simply just consumes a ton of Reiatsu while doing nearly no damage, having no combo extenders, no combo starters, and no utility moves of any kind. It would honestly be almost better to not have a Shikai than to use this one most of the time, but the only reason why this one manages to land over Theater is because it has some specific use cases in which it's good that you can use in a fight. Its audio is also just broken or removed, so the Phoenix Wright noises are gone, so it's not even very fun to use anymore. At 42 we have Compulsory, which 42 is ranked so low for it being nearly useless but having some very niche scenarios in which it works. It used to have true combos and confirms, but now it's just mediocre garbage with slow projectiles and a combo extender move that barely combo extends into anything other than Sonata Flow anymore. And tied with Compulsory at number 42 is Acid. It used to be great with Hakuda for the extra true damage and combos, but ever since it was nerfed, it's been extremely weak. Its only place in the meta was with Hakuda, and when someone eating an entire Hakuda combo will still take more damage to one light move than the entire Acid AoE, it really just isn't worth using anymore. At number 41, we have Heat. It does decent damage, but the moves just aren't that great. The G move is a decent block break, and the T move is a decent range tool, but every other partial or Shrift that has both a ranged option and or a guard break does it better. Heat tries to be good at more than it can, and it's just mediocre at both of its only jobs. At 40, we have the Power. The T move, Diamond Kick, is a decent ranged pressure tool and combo starter, which already makes it better than Heat. The G move is more of a utility tool, being a knockback hyper armor punch. While being mid like most Shrifts in the game, the defensive capability and pressure capability of each move makes it actually pretty good, but not good enough to compete with many of the later entries on this list. So while it is usable, I still wouldn't choose it over lots of the things after it. And at 39, we have the pretty recently nerfed Fear. Fear was once amazing at pressuring and combo starting, but now it does much less damage, has much worse posture damage, and is overall extremely weak in comparison to its former forms, which were way better in every way possible. The moves at this point are doing like an M1's worth of damage, so it's just like you could have a better combo starter or combo extender or ranged option with basically any other Shrift in the game, other than Visionary because it sucks. Next up at 38 is Slash. This would have been way higher weeks ago, but the Byakko move, which was once an amazing combo starter that couldn't really be punished well, now has a lot more end lag and startup, making it easier to react to, and it will get you punished almost every time if you don't land it. Slash, which was also one of the best combo extenders in the game, got nerfed, and while it's still good, it isn't as good in terms of damage as it once was, because back then it would do maybe a quarter of a bar while while being a combo extender, so you could really throw it in any combo and it would work and do decent damage for what it was. Phoenix is at 37, where it rightfully belongs at this point. Along with Phoenix Segunda coming out, Phoenix received a lot of buffs, making it heavily overtuned and overall way too strong in its prime. This was corrected through all the stat nerfs, making it a bunch more balanced, and it was brought down to where it rightfully belongs, realistically. Spirit is at 36, and it's basically just because of its damage and pressure. It really only has one combo ending move, since the Z and C both push people away. The X, however, is a decent evasive, which provides a defensive option that can be very good for kendo builds. There really isn't much to say about Spirit. And at 35, we have Zangetsu, which is good for its massive AoEs and hitboxes, making it very easy to use. You can kind of just throw out moves to pressure people, and the low Reiatsu costs make it easy to play aggressively, with it benefiting a kendo or speed player, because now you just have more things you can throw out in neutral and either get damage or posture done onto your opponent. At 34, we have Poison, which is literally only this high for its damage. None of the moves really combo extend, but for the fact that Poison's damage over time is so high, you could probably deal 2 bars to someone in a fight using just Shikai moves if you're actually landing them, makes it actually pretty decent. Other than the damage, however, it is quite mid, which lands at the number 34 spot. At 33, we have Flower. It's really only up here for versatility. All the moves are mid, but they have a decent evasive option with the X, a decent pressure option with the Z, and an AoE C, which can do more damage to people held in combos, so imagine if Acid were still good. Number 32 is Fire, and honestly, Fire just has some of the best pressuring in the game, but that's really all it has most of the time. All 3 of the moves do massive posture damage, and one of them is a guaranteed guard break, and the C move just does a ton of damage. The only problem with Fire is that it really just has long windups and it lacks utility, which kind of just makes Fire a little bit mid, but Fire is alright, and I would actually use it if given the opportunity or having a build that revolves around it. At 31, we have Shadow, which has Shadow Tendril and Delayed Death, which kind of work in the same scenarios but in reverse. They're both combo starters, but one brings people into you and the other brings you into them. Shadow overall works very well with Keto, as it has some decent combos, and the Shadow Pull move can also be used to escape combos and punish people if you read their mix-ups, which makes it a decent evasive option depending on the type of player that you're going against. But that brings us up to number 30, which is Lightning Shikai. It's overall really easy to use, but it's honestly just kinda mediocre overall. It gets points for its player friendliness since all the moves auto-target or have large hitboxes, and it's also easily spammable being, auto-target moves, which can allow you to pressure someone rather easily, but overall Lightning is just mid, as it doesn't really do a lot of damage or posture damage, and one of the moves, I believe it's Bararak or whatever it's called, just punishes you if someone blocks it because it leaves you in a negative state. It's just really not that great. At 29, we have the Wind Shikai, not to be confused with the Wind Shrift. It has only combo starters. All 3 moves work as combo starters, but ever since its nerf, they're much more punishing to miss, which has knocked this Shikai down many tiers from where it was in its prime with the Wind Shunko builds like a month ago. At 28, we have the Shark Partial Resurrection. Cascada is a good move that you can throw out to punish people who get hit by it because it's basically a death-dealing slow, but the projectile is harder to counter or parry. Dive is also a good pressure tool and potential combo starter, which makes it worth using in many scenarios, especially because you're invincible during it and you can't really be punished for using it. And the Shark projectiles are just a decent pressure tool as a whole, which makes Shark decent to use. At 27, we have Devil, which has a ton of versatility actually. The C move's grounded variant is a great quick throw-out pressure tool, or something that you can just catch people off guard with to get a bit of cheap damage in. The aerial version of it is great with Hakuda as a combo extends. The electric form of the X move block breaks and does great damage and also combo extends similarly to an M1. And the Z move is a teleport into a super fast hit, so it can be used to close distances and start combos with Hakuda. Devil is overall actually really good, but just because everything past it on this list is just better, we can't really justify putting it up there. At 26, we have Superstar, both moves dealing good damage, but the G move specifically is really good for pressuring, combo starting, and even combo escaping because of how fast it comes out. This move kind of just carries the entire kit because it's overall a little bit mid. At 25, we have Volcanica. Recently nerfed after being overtuned, Volcanica still remains pretty good. The Volcanica C move, which summons Pillars of Lava, is a great zoning move that allows you to hide inside of them while just throwing moves out to hit people. It's actually just kind of really annoying to go against, which is why I hate Volcanica. The other 2 moves are literally identical though, as they're just pressure tools that do a bit of damage. And they have like the same animation too. I don't know who made Volcanica's animations, but wow, you got lazy. They are almost identical. At 24, we have a tie between Glutton and Miracle, so let's talk about Glutton first. Both Glutton moves have Lifesteal and Devour, which is the bite, also has Reiatsu Steal. Overall, the biggest universal weakness in this game is Reiatsu, so anything that gives you the utility through extra Reiatsu is amazing. Miracle is good for a few reasons. The blind is good and allows for you to pressure opponents really hard after blinding them, and the God's Palm move is a good guard breaking option that you can also use for mix-ups or just throw it in the middle of your combos if you want to extend them off a guard break. And at 23 we have the Wind Shrift, which is quite slept on. The T move has True Stun, which just means guaranteed combo starters while also doing good damage, and the G move just does good damage and is basically a non-moving Fast Fang alternative. It's actually really good when you really break it down. But at 22, we have Benihime. Benihime has some decent moves, and although it is this high in the list, many people drag it way too hard, calling it unusable trash. Regardless, Benihime has one of the best evasives in the game and 2 amazing pressure tools. The largest weakness of Benihime is its large Reiatsu cost and end lag on the C move. However, the C move is good when landed, which you're gonna land it most of the time because it literally brings people into it, so it's still not bad. At 21, we have the recently buffed Ice. The new Ice Shuriken's buff is actually really insane when you break it down. The delay between each Shuriken has been increased while the projectile speed was recently decreased, but all this means is that the opponent absolutely needs to hold block for longer, which gives you more time to break their guard, making Ice Shurikens a crazy pressure tool after its recent buff. The counter is still a counter, which does way more damage than what's deserved, and Ice Carve can be used with Ice Shurikens to pressure hard and guard break or freeze people, which leaves them open to your combos. Ice is actually really good after the buff, and I'd actually use it over some of the later entries over here. At 20, we have Confusion. Confusion is hard to rank because it's much better against worse players than it is against better players. The 2 offensive moves are quite easy to counter once you've learned how to defend against Confusion, and the counter is actually quite easy to bait out since its activation window is the smallest in the game in terms of counters. It still has decent tools though, making it a worthy placement for Confusion in our number 20 spot. But at 19, we have the recently reworked Berserk. This Shikai is very good actually. It has a new gimmick where the lower your health is, the better everything becomes, not just your moves, and this isn't a small difference either. 2 of the 3 moves gain hyper armor below half health, 1 of the moves gains combo extension properties and crippling below 30% health, and the lower your health is, just like the more moves are in your moves, like they have longer combo strings, they do more damage, they have larger AoEs, and your M1s also scale up based on how low your health is. Berserk is overall a great option for most people right now, placing it in the number 19 spot. Absolutely great. At 18, we have Creation. The C move is an amazing mix-up combo starter and pressure tool because once it's down, it is applying constant pressure upon someone, and now they have to worry about passively blocking with the threat of getting guard break stunned. The other 2 moves are also good pressure tools. With Creation, you have some of the best pressure assisting abilities in the entire game. You throw the C down, you literally just wait for them to not be blocking and you throw it out, because most people aren't going to be able to parry it in time. At 17, we have Ink. The C move is a great combo starter and pressure tool, like a lot of the mid entries, which brings you into people similarly to Shadow's delayed death move. The extra passive of Ink being able to block people's movesets is the real star of Ink's kit though, since it pretty much single-handedly makes it one of the best defensive tools in the game, since you can literally just Ink someone and combo them for like 8 seconds straight because they can't fight back with anything more than M1s. At 16, however, we have Blood. The X move for Blood is great for its extra healing, which covers Soul Reaper's biggest weakness, health. Normally Reiatsu is an issue for most people, but since Visored Soul Reapers usually have the Reiatsu variant, health becomes the largest concern to most Soul Reaper Shinigami players. The C move is also good because it's just another pressure tool, and the Z move is good because it's a free ragdoll combo starter that you can use to punish people who get overly aggressive. Blood is overall super versatile and has everything you would ever need, making it very good. But the thing about this is, if it has everything you ever need, why isn't it higher? Because everything higher just like specializes in more things and do it better. So, you know. At 15, we have Suzumebachi. Currently slightly better than Blood, but not for versatility. It currently has probably the overall best pressure tool in the game, with Silent Approach, which is a teleporting punch that does like 4 bars of posture damage, meaning if the person you're fighting doesn't parry, then they either can't block anything else or they're already broken. The X toss move is also a good combo ender, and it combos into Sonata Flow, so it can be a combo extender, which is very good. And the Z move is faster than any M1 in the game, meaning you can actually sometimes interrupt people's combos by spamming your Suzumabachi Z move against people who are trying to combo you, which works very well against Shunko users. At 14, we have Iron Shrift. I know a lot of you aren't going to like how high this is, but this is absolutely insane with Hakuda and the Warden. The Iron Slam move can be move stacked with Hakuda, and also it can be followed up with a ton of different moves to true combo into. And the T move Adamantine Kicks does massive amounts of posture damage and is a great pressure tool which gives Hakuda users another guard break after they just lost one, basically bringing Hakuda up to what it was pre-nerf with Iron, which it's just actually insane. You guys wouldn't know until you fought like a top 20 player who's using Hakuda Iron. At 13, we have Pantera. The X move is an extra flash step evasive and a high speed move that's hard to deal with, making it very versatile in both offensive and defensive situations. The Z move is a great pressure tool that dashes you, meaning it's good in boss raid scenarios, and the C move is a range pushback that's also good in boss raid scenarios because it helps you keep distance from your opponents. Pantera is overall just really good. At 12, we have Arrogante, which would have been much higher, but it was actually recently nerfed. Regardless, it does remain good. The extra Reiatsu and counter serve very well with speed, making you a super defensive force that can't easily be hit, and the fact that the counter gives you half a bar of Reiatsu back is insane. Like, that's actually crazy. That's so much to just, like, for landing a counter. There's no skill involved in it. And the Decompose debuffs are very good, which hinder your opponent either offensively or defensively, but regardless, they help you win a fight and they make a significant difference. And finally, Funeral is just a free combo extender you can add to literally any build or any combo, and it's going to work every time. Arrogante is still really, really good, but it falls just out of our top 10. At 11, we have Balance. Balance is amazing and easily the best support, partial, or shrift in the game. However, even offensively, it is still really strong. Precedent Slash has hyper armor and guard breaks, which means it's almost non-counterable, with your only options against it being dodge or parry, which eliminates at least half of your options with it. And don't forget that there are ways to make it so people can't dodge or parry, which means you could eliminate all of somebody's options and just land it for free. Anyway, Balance also heals up to a bar of health if you get max order stacks, which is a lot to heal in a 1v1, even if you only get max order and use it once, which is insane. But that brings us to the first in our top 10, which is Death Dealing. The true damage is amazing as it is, you know, just it's true damage. And while Gift Bad is absolutely a carrying key component of Death Dealing, it's just that good. And with the Cybernetic Claw, you can easily use it to force someone into the middle of your Gift Bad AoE, making it so easy to stack up lethal exposure to kill someone. Especially because if you land the Claw move on someone, even while you have the Claw on them, they're going to be taking the lethal exposure, and their bar is going to be filling up even though they're in a stun and they can't do anything about it. Gift Ball is also a great pressuring tool, and the crippling effect it gives is enough to make it just into our top 10. Right above Death Dealing at number 9 is Thunderbolt. I know this is going to be so crazy to so many people. Nobody's going to have expected Thunderbolt to be the best Shrift in the game, but just hear me out. Both moves, Ragdoll, allow for free combos. Galvano Blast just is unblockable. You can only parry it. It's amazing in ganks. It's amazing in 1v1s. It does a lot of damage. Thunderbolt is absolutely overtuned after its buffs, but even in comparison to the other Shrifts, most Shrifts are honestly just pretty mid, which is why the top 10 are pretty much all Shikais and Resurrections, because Shrifts are easily the weakest partial modes in the game overall and on average, but you have to understand that Thunderbolt is absolutely crazy right now. I know lots of people are going to disagree. Nobody's going to think, oh, Thunderbolt's in the top 10 because it's a common. No, Thunderbolt is crazy. Thunderbolt is absolutely crazy, insane, bonkers. It's crazy. You have to fight a good Thunderbolt user. And at number 8, we have Storm. Storm is great with all 3 moves being auto-targeting. However, while being similar to Lightning, it's basically just overtuned Lightning Shikai, because it does more damage, has more stun, combo extends better, and basically does everything better than Lightning in almost every way possible, to the point where it's in the top 8, where Lightning was as low as it was because of how many nerfs it's gotten. And at number 7, we have Bone. Bone is incredibly versatile. 2 ranged options, one of which TPs and the other auto targets, 2 combo extending options, high damaging moves, crippling effects. Like, they open up your opponent for more combos and hits. Bone is absolutely amazing and has almost everything you would ever need ever. And at number 6 we have Light, and Light is really good with Speed and or Hakuda right now. But with Hakuda falling out of the meta and Speed coming into the meta with moves like Black Claw or the Yamato weapon, which is a reference to Sephiroth from Final Fantasy, Light is really good. It has 2 unpunishable moves and 1 combo extender or ender in the Light pillar that's a huge, high damaging AoE that's really good in ganks because it has some true stun, which means you can literally just launch someone down into your friend's combo and it will work almost every time. At 5 we have the newly buffed Vampire. Vampire with the new Payday variant that instantly explodes is actually amazing. You can actually true combo with Vamp and Speed by doing the instant explode, which most people can't parry yet, and it's also just harder to parry because there's no real timing to it, and then comboing that into a Fast Fang, Sonata Flow, Flash Fang, Eviscerate, or many other options. It's insane. This simple change has made Vampire jump way up into the top 5 due to its new mix-up and true combo potential. And by the way, did I bait anyone by saying Yamato is a Sephiroth reference? If so, I got you, buddy. Anyway, at number 4 we have Duality. Generally, this and Kyoka Sugetsu are very, very close, which Kyoka is next, sorry for the spoiler, but the reason why Duality is under Kyoka is for 2 reasons. Even though it's only slightly harder to use, Duality is slightly harder to use because of how many moves it has. This makes the skill cap higher, but also the use cases are much harder to figure out. And because of this, Kyoka takes a very slight advantage over it because of its ease of use. Which brings us into number 3, Kyoka Sugetsu. Kyoka is good for the fact that the clone just flies sometimes, but more than that, if you can't deal with the clone fast, the fight is practically already over, because unlike a person, the clone isn't going to miss, meaning your only options against it are parry and block. And when you have this clone who can't miss and a person who can't interrupt the clone attacking you, and both of them are spamming the same skill set on you, and one of them just auto-targets, it can really dictate the pace of a fight. The visual effects that Kyoka Sugetsu applies as well are also really annoying, which makes it much better in PvP scenarios, because you can't really block well against what you can't see. Overall, Kyoka Sugetsu is easily within our top 3, but I would say it's honestly interchangeable with Duality because they're both really good. At number 2, we have Stark. Even after its multitude of nerfs, it's still extremely powerful. Buster is just one of the best moves in the game. Buster, Cero Escudas, block breaks, Buster confirms into so many things that it gets nerfed every few updates just for it to still be really good because there's so many other things it just works well with. Cero Corazon actually true combos into Cero Grab now after its nerfs for some reason. I think they increased the windup, I don't know. Which is just kind of nice. And Sonido Cero is a great zoning range tool which does good posture damage and can also be used as an evasive, which makes Stark our number 2 spot. I love Stark. I will never stop using it. And finally, at number 1, oh my god, we have Water Shikai. This thing is insane right now. Terribly overtuned. Insanely slow and fast mix-up projectiles that cover large areas at a time, makes it insanely hard to counter and have crazy combo potential. It does great damage, great posture damage, costs low Reiatsu, cooldowns are low, making everything spammable and extremely powerful right now, which is why Water is absolutely getting nerfed in the next few coming updates. And if you're saying, oh, how is Water the best in the game? Hey buddy, have you fought an actual good Water user yet? They are insane. You will be kept in infinite combos because you'll have like one move hitting you while one move slowly coming at you, and as they just finish their first combo, you're gonna get hit by a wave, and as that wave hits you, you get ragdolled and you get put into another combo because all their moves are already off cooldown. Water is crazy. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed. I love you all. Shoutouts to YouTube members Kenix, Rayont, Cyberboy21, and Drake. Your song covers will be coming soon, so don't worry, guys. And I love you all. Hope you had an amazing day. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you disagree with me, you're wrong, okay, buddy? I had developers and testers and balance team members and top players. I discussed this with everyone. This took so long to, like, organize. But I love you all regardless, and goodbye.